discuss in detail about speaking now. This I'll have to be brief because we have already delayed. So I'll discuss a bit of speaking, and because most of you are dealing with the students who are residing in the rural areas, and many of you say that their first language, they are good in first language, but when it comes to speaking English, they have a lot of issues and they do not come up with speaking. They have very like broken spoken. Also, many a time they don't try. They're very hesitant. So here I'll discuss a bit of ABC of speaking, where basics of everything that is required related to speaking we'll discuss, and how that can be inculcated in the learners residing in the rural areas. I try to include the essential components related to speaking, and of course listening will go together. Uh, Alphabetically, so, and they are also in order of the importance of how they should be taken. So it's an alphabetic list of what are the essential components of listening and speaking and how that should be there. The first in the first is the list. Why this is not changing? Okay, I have to change here. First in the list is the thing is that there are a few popular quotes related to speaking and listening, and some of them are here. Whether they will apply to our classroom or not, we have to think. The first is that Ben Jonson says, to speak and to speak well are two things. A fool may talk, but a wise man speaks. This is by Ben Jonson. All of your teachers of literature, you know Ben Jonson. Then Abraham Lincoln says, it's better to keep one's mouth shut and be thought a fool than to open it and resolve all doubt. Abraham Lincoln said. And Oliver W. Holmes says, speak clearly if you speak at all. Carve every word before you let it fall. So, like, all these three quotes indicate that we have to be very, very thoughtful before speaking. We have to think a lot before opening our mouth. Can it apply to the situation of our students? Can we ask them to think a lot? Most of them translate from mother tongue to English, and then they speak, and many of them make lots of grammatical mistakes. So I think if this can be applicable for all of us as teachers, we should be very, very we should try to think for the accuracy of the content and expression. I think we should not apply these rules for our learners, that you think, then speak clearly, speak better. I think for learners, even if they start speaking, I remember a principal of Kendriya Vidyalaya, he joined, and maybe principals may not be the man of English all the time. So that time he was a principal from a science background. He joined KV Northeast. I won't name the KV. I want to make it anonymous, but the words I will repeat. So he entered into my classroom, and I was a teacher of English. And he thought that he has got a good English, he will not be speaking Hindi or any other language to us, to the teachers. So he decided that. So he entered the classroom, and in the classroom, children, they are children. They keep on doing nonsense, and some papers were lying here and there, folded papers. So the principal spoke, you, paper on the ground, lift, dustbin. So these are some of the words that he spoke in the class, and children understood. So the one of the wife went down, came out from the desk. He took the paper, threw it in the dustbin. The message was conveyed. Whatever he wanted to say, the message was conveyed. Language was also used. He used language, though broken English. So when it comes to our learners, we can motivate them even though they speak only words, not complete sentences. Let them start from there. Let us not worry much about grammatical accuracy, pronunciation, and many other things. However, gradually we should motivate them to bring accuracy in the language, in the use of language, accuracy in pronunciation, so that they can have maximum intelligibility. So gradually we should take them. In the beginning, the first thing is that we should motivate them to speak whatever way they want, whatever language, whatever accuracy is there, allow them to speak English. So accuracy is the first thing. I think I already said, don't mind corrections. So you give it to children, to yourself also. Like, none of us can speak 100% correct. Even native speakers of Britain, if we think of accuracy, there is nothing called very accurate or 100% accurate language. Even native speakers of Britain, only there are 3% people, in native speakers who speak BBC English or there's a noise, please mute yourself here. So the native speakers also do not, if we have some quality kind of assistant who speaks very good English, so received pronunciation is often considered to be good English, and only 3% of the speakers speak BBC English. That means we should not be bothered much about how much accurate it is. However, there are some errors which are very relevant, which are very obvious. Those errors should be corrected. For example, I did not want it to hurt you. A very simple error. It should be I did not want. And many people make this kind of error using did with a third form of the verb or second form of the verb. So this kind of errors, if the learners make, generally you correct it. You say that, okay, okay, your sentence was okay, good. But if you have just used the word want instead of wanted, your sentence would have been better. तो आपने अच्छा प्रयास किया, your effort was very good, लेकिन wanted की जगह पे want use करो. So like that, we can use our mother tongue also to help them understand the errors that they have made. And make it a habit in the learners कि अगर error आप correct कर रहे हो, so that was for their benefit, so that they speak better. And don't correct the errors off and on. हमेशा एरर करेक्ट करेंगे तो बच्चा नहीं करेगा. Occasionally, जब आपको लगे कि blunders कर रहे हैं, then you can go and correct them for the errors that they're making. So accuracy is the A of. Then we comes to brevity. Brevity means speak to the point, speak briefly, don't speak a lot, unnecessary paraphrasing, don't keep on chatting and chattering and chattering. So speak brief and to the point so that it should be understood. Don't need to beat around the bush, don't need to speak everything. You can say that the bottom line is this word, the bottom line is last mein kya kehna hai, what is the gist out of the whole thing. So the second thing is that motivate your learners to speak to the point and not use a lot of unnecessary words, to speak whatever they wish to. They can be brief. That's the second quality of a good speaker. The third is clarity. So speak loud enough. Clarity has two things. One is loud enough so that you reach to all the listeners. When you are in the class, you speak loud. Check that the last learner in the class is able to listen to you, and when they speak, you should be able to listen back. So when I was in a class, when I wanted the learners, when my learners were speaking, what I would do is that I'll move to the distant farthest corner so that I see that the learner is loud enough. Because many times when they are hesitant, they think कि अभी कम जोर से बोल देंगे तो बाकी फ्रेंड्स हमारे एरर को नहीं सुनेंगे. नो, एरर तो होगा, लेकिन उनमें कॉन्फिडेंस भी लाना है. तो उसके लिए अलाउ देम टू स्पीक लाउड एनफ. लाउड एनफ के लिए बेस्ट वे इज दैट यू डिस्टेंट फ्रॉम द लर्नर. जहां से वो बोल रहा है वहां से, अगर वो पीछे से बोल रहा है तो आप आगे में फार्दर कॉर्नर में जाइए, वो आगे में है तो आप पीछे चले जाइए. लर्नर को आपको सुनाने के लिए द वॉइस विल बी रेज्ड, उसकी लाउडनेस बढ़ेगी, जो कि रिक्वायर्ड है मेनी अ टाइम. वॉइस क्लैरिटी को आप टाइम से मास्टर कर सकते हैं. वही आपको प्रैक्टिस बार बार करना पड़ेगा अगर लाउडनेस कम हो रही है. तो एक तो क्लैरिटी ये आ गई. दूसरी क्लैरिटी लैंग्वेज के यूज में भी है. जब आप व्हेन यू आर स्पीकिंग, the pauses that you are taking and the places that you stop, those pauses also bring clarity or make it confusing. So for example, this sentence, this has a reference to your advertisement calling for a typist and an accountant, male or female, as I am both for the past several years and I can handle both with good experience. I am applying for the post. तो एक एडवर्टाइजमेंट के अप्लाई में जहां मेल एंड फीमेल को रिक्वायरमेंट था और अकाउंटेंट और टाइपिस्ट दोनों का रिक्वायरमेंट था. तो मेन रिक्वायरमेंट था द पर्सन शुड बी टाइपिस्ट एंड अकाउंटेंट. वो मेल हो या फीमेल हो, दैट्स डिफरेंट. बट द वे इट इज अरेंज्ड, इट सेज दैट एज आई एम बोथ मेल एंड फीमेल. सो दिस वे, लाइक as I am both, it should come at some other place. As I am both typist and accountant, इसके बाद add करना पड़ेगा. So when you write something or you speak something, ensure that the pauses, the punctuations, they make things clear. If it is not clear, add the words and make it clear. So you should be clear enough in your message and loud enough to convey that message. So that means clarity. The fourth is diction, the words that you use. There are many formal, casual, and very formal, very informal. Casual diction is like, what kind of diction is generally the selection of the words, and there are three types of diction: formal, casual, and very informal. फॉर्मल डिक्शंस इज द प्लेस लाइक यू मोटिवेट देम कि आप जब अपने फ्रेंड के साथ हो तो आपका जो वर्ड सिलेक्शन है वो डिफरेंट होगा. व्हेन यू आर टॉकिंग टू योर टीचर इन अ क्लास, your diction should be different, the word you should choose should be different. For example, diction like, hello young man, it's a true pleasure to meet you, how are you feeling today? It's a formal diction. A teacher should use this such kind of diction with the learner. Casual, hey kid, nice to meet you, what's up? कैजुअल डिक्शन जो फ्रेंड से यूज करता है. सो यू शुड मोटिवेट कि देखो ये इनफॉर्मल है, आप अपने फ्रेंड के साथ इसे यूज कर सकते हो, बट नॉट विद अ टीचर और नॉट एट अ फॉर्मल सेटिंग. समथिंग व्हिच इज वेरी इनफॉर्मल लाइक प्राइवेट पर्सनल टॉक्स, we should not be using very informal talks or not motivate learners to use very informal talk or intimate talks in the school campus. So formal and casual, we have to make a distinction between what kind of words the learners is choosing, what kind of words they are using while they're speaking, whether they're formal or casual. It should depend on the occasion and the place and the person on which they are, using this kind of, language. So diction or selection of the words and the way you pronounce the words is the diction. Then ease, the comfort with which a word is spoken or English is spoken, where there is less hesitation, without any difficulty or hesitation, how comfortable the learner is while speaking. So in order to bring comfort or ease of speaking, you motivate the learners to speak more and more. So the more they speak, the easier it becomes for them to speak. So provide them opportunity, ask them to speak broken English, but let them speak. Provide them opportunity in the assembly ground, in the classroom. If they are hesitant in the classroom, motivate them to speak with a smaller group. 5-6 बच्चों का group में conversation कराइए. They'll be very free. Then take them to the class. First you talk to them, then in a smaller group, then to a bigger group, then assembly ground. So you see how they are getting relaxed and feel comfortable while they speak. Relax and think about the message. Relax, think what message you want to convey, and help them enjoy the conversation. Try to many a time if they want to speak in front of assembly and all, say that कि आप अपने friend के साथ उसको practice कर लीजिए घर पे in front of mirror etc. You can try to speak this. Some of them may build confidence in them and they speak better. Then fluency is the ability to express without stopping. That they are not very off and on, they are not stopping, they are speaking it without much break in between the words and all. So this comfortable working ability can be established by regular practice, as I said earlier. Let's ask them to focus on the message that they want to convey and not on avoiding mistake. Many times their main focus, the learner's main focus goes when they want to avoid mistakes कि अरे ये गलत हो जाएगा, इसको बचना है. And there the accuracy there the fluency is lacking. Beginning में you say that whatever language you speak it. अभी हम लोग सभी गलत बोलेंगे, आप भी बोलो हम भी बोलेंगे. अगर आप बोलोगे मैं सही बोल रहा हूं तुम गलत बोलो तो मिस्टेक हो जाएगा. They will not be coming up. Say that let's speak wrong English. थोड़ा तक 1 महीने तक हम लोग wrong English ही बोलेंगे लेकिन English बोलेंगे. So let's try to focus on message. I think वो principal का जो मैंने example दिया, garbage, dustbin, throw, 3 words. Message clear. So let's focus on message and not accuracy, not focus on avoiding mistakes. So discussion are good fluency activities. So if you motivate them for fluency activity, discussions are good. 3-4 learner को round table पे बिठा दिए and let's discuss something. That way they'll develop fluency. अकेले fluency develop नहीं होगी. It must be developed in the group. ग्रामर, रूल्स ऑफ ग्रामर है वो तो जरूरी है, लेकिन वही है कि मे बी Once you see that blunders are happening, only then you correct them. In the beginning, ask them to avoid grammatical mistakes, but not compel, interrupt them off and on. हमेशा बार बार रिमाइंड नहीं करना है. When they are blunders, correct them. Occasionally correct them. Slowly they'll develop it. This grammar, I'm giving some examples. As I'm marrying my daughter, please grant me a week's leave. ये application में किसी ने लिखा है. As I'm marrying my daughter, please grant me a week's leave. I'm going to get my daughter married. Getting my daughter married should be the correct grammar. Or I want to shave my son's head. Please leave me for 2 days. Get my son's head shaved. वो saving की बात है, तो कटने का नहीं है. Shave my son's head is you want to cut his son's head, kill his son. Please leave me for 2 days. Please grant me 2 days leave is something that should be correct. Habit. Habit is the behavior of getting accustomed to, getting used to speaking. So make speaking in English a usual behavior. Campus में रहें, class में रहें, friends के साथ बात करें. Let them speak it. Right, wrong, doesn't matter. Let them speak it. So make it a habit. Don't do code mixing and code switching. Code mixing, code switching, इसको थोड़ा समझना है. Code mixing and code switching are like mixing is like when you are mixing a lot of words from other language. जैसे अभी मैं हिंदी में बोल रहा हूँ और उसमें इंग्लिश के इतने सारे वर्ड मिक्स हो रहे हैं, तो this is called code mixing. But code switching is when you are speaking one language, right? Like right now I'm speaking English और मैंने हिंदी में बोलना शुरू कर दिया, तो this is code switching. So code mixing और code switching में क्या है कि दोनों लैंग्वेज मिक्सअप हो जाते हैं, वहां थोड़ा कंफ्यूजन होगा, फिर वो फ्लुएंसी इन टारगेट लैंग्वेज कैन नॉट बी डेवलप. तो आपको कोशिश करना है कि जो एक लैंग्वेज है, इंग्लिश बोल रहे हैं तो इंग्लिश में ही वो जैसे ही बोल रहे हैं इंग्लिश के वर्ड्स का यूज करें. डोंट सरेंडर कि अरे मुझसे नहीं होगा. अब बच्चों को बोलिए अरे मुझसे नहीं होगा, ऐसा नहीं है, होगा, धीरे धीरे होगा. सो लाइक दैट यू मोटिवेट देम. इंटेलिजिबिलिटी की जहां तक बात आती है, which I for intelligibility, which means the fact of being able to be easily understood. तो यहाँ प्रोनाउंसिएशन थोड़ा रोल प्ले करता है. मदर टंग का इन्फ्लुएंस का बहुत ज्यादा मिलेगा आपको. मेनी ऑफ योर लर्नर्स में बी स्पीकिंग इंग्लिश with a lot of influence of mother tongue. We should not discourage them. mother tongue का अपना influence है, वो रहेगा ही. But slowly जब वो उनका एक basic level में fluency आ जाए, then you can motivate them to try to speak maybe slightly in a version which can be understood across India. We call it Indian English kind of, जहाँ बहुत ज्यादा influence नहीं हो और meaning clear हो जाए. So maybe we can try to also give them some examples of RP, लेकिन compulsory नहीं करेंगे. Received pronunciation जो आपका BBC का इंग्लिश है, या IPA इंटरनेशनल फोनेटिक एसोसिएशन का है, या ब्रिटिश इंग्लिश, अमेरिकन इंग्लिश, या जनरल इंडियन इंग्लिश है, तो इस तीनों में से अगर चुनना है, ब्रिटिश इंग्लिश, अमेरिकन इंग्लिश और जनरल इंडियन इंग्लिश, GI, इस तीनों में से आप GI को चुनिए. हालांकि ये भी अभी पूरा डेवलप नहीं हुआ है, तो एक बेसिक लेवल में ऐसा उनका प्रोनाउंसिएशन हो जिसमें कि मीनिंग क्लियर हो जाए अक्रॉस इंडिया. इंडिया में बहुत सारे लैंग्वेजेस हैं, तो उनके जो मदर टंग का इन्फ्लुएंस है थोड़ा कम हो और इंग्लिश का इन्फ्लुएंस ऐसा हो, इंग्लिश उनकी ऐसी हो, सो दैट दे शुड बी एबल टू बी मेक देयर मैसेज क्लियर टू द ऑडियंस. तो ये हमें करना है कि हमें आरपी को फोर्स नहीं करना है, या बीबीसी इंग्लिश को फोर्स नहीं करना है. रादर एक ऐसा इंग्लिश जो कि अंडरस्टूड है, जो कि इजीली इंटेलिजिबल हो, जो कि लोग समझ सकें, ऐसे इंग्लिश का यूज करने देना है. Then jargons are the words or expressions that are used by particular profession or a group of people. कुछ ऐसे words होते हैं जो कि उसी सब्जेक्ट में यूज होते हैं, जैसे ऐप. जैसे आपको ऐप जो एक वर्ड है जो कि टेक्निकल जार्गन है, जो कि एप्लीकेशन का है. उसी तरह से कैच एक वर्ड है जो कि कंप्यूटर का है. सो दीज आर वेरी काइंड ऑफ सब्जेक्ट स्पेसिफिक वर्ड्स और टेक्निकल वर्ड्स. तो ये जो है वो कोशिश करना है कि कम से कम यूज हो, बिकॉज जब आप इस तरह का सब्जेक्ट स्पेसिफिक या जार्गन का यूज करेंगे तो वो लर्नर ज्यादा इजीली समझ नहीं पाएगा. तो आप अगर आपको ऐप वर्ड बोलना, हालांकि ऐप तो काफी पॉपुलर हो गया है, कैच के जगह पे आप बोलिए कि द मेमोरी दैट इज टेम्पररी मेमोरी इन योर मोबाइल दैट कैन बी डिलीटेड. सो दैट वो कैच वर्ड को आई हैव रिफ्रेज्ड इट. So whenever it comes to like use of jargons, very technical words, it's better that you explain it to the common audience. If you have a specific audience जो कि आपको आप कंप्यूटर के बारे में बोल रहे हैं और कंप्यूटर का ही ऑडियंस है, तो आप जार्गन का यूज करिए। जैसे अभी इंग्लिश के ऑडियंस हैं तो मैं इंग्लिश का कुछ वर्ड्स ऐसे यूज कर सकता हूँ, लेकिन वही अगर बाकी सब्जेक्ट के भी टीचर रहते तो मैं और भी सिंपल करता। सो यू हैव टू मेक योर कम्युनिकेशन सिंपलर और लेस यूज ऑफ jargons according to the need of the audience. नॉलेज ऑफ द कंटेंट इज वेरी नेसेसरी। यू शुड नो द कंटेंट। जिस टॉपिक पे आप बोल रहे हैं, जिस सब्जेक्ट पे आप बोल रहे हैं, उसका नॉलेज होना जरूरी है। उसे रिमेंबर करने की आवश्यकता नहीं है। इफ यू ट्राई टू रिमेंबर यू कैन फॉरगेट। डोंट ट्राई टू रिमेंबर इट, जस्ट स्पीक योर माइंड आउट। जो दिमाग में आए इस टॉपिक को पढ़िए, समझिए एंड देन स्पीक। मोटिवेट योर लर्नर्स टू डू सेम, कि आप उसको समझिए एंड देन यू ट्राई टू स्पीक एंड नॉट लाइक रिमेंबर इट। रिमेंबर करके बोलेंगे तो जैसे एक वर्ड भूल गए उसके बाद सारा ब्लैक आउट हो जाएगा, सब भूल जाएंगे एंड यू वॉन्ट बी एबल टू फोकस बेटर, यू वॉन्ट बी एबल टू स्पीक। आप गिव अप कर देंगे, नहीं नहीं भूल गया छोड़ दो। सो ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड इट एंड देन स्पीक योर माइंड आउट। अपने वर्ड्स में बोलिए। लर्न, आपको सीखना है, चाहे वो रूल्स ऑफ ग्रामर हो, चाहे वो किसी भी चीज का रूल हो। द मोर यू नो द बेटर यू विल स्पीक। सो बी अ लाइफ लॉन्ग लर्नर। रीड बुक्स, रीड न्यूज़पेपर्स, read encyclopedia, read any content from the internet, but read in the target language। जो भी language है उसमें पढ़िए, उसमें यूज करिए। The more you learn, the more knowledge you will have, the more vocabulary you will develop, and the better speaker you will be। मास्टर कोई भी बॉर्न स्पीकर नहीं होता है, कोई भी पेट से ही लैंग्वेज सीख के नहीं आता है। दे ऑल लर्न हियर वेदर नेचुरली और दे हैव डिफरेंट सिचुएशन टू लर्न। सो आपका एक्सपीरियंस और उसका जो प्रैक्टिस है, प्रैक्टिस विल मेक यू परफेक्ट। सो यू ट्राई टू मास्टर इट, ट्राई टू मेक इट easier for you by speaking it more and more. So master is like getting command of the thing, knowing how to do it well. So you have to practice and practice. The term that I use is practice more. Notice you can also see how others are doing, like examples आप classroom में create कर सकते हैं. If you have a good pronunciation, you use your voice. Look the way I speak, and you speak like this. So that way you will be able to be a model for others. Or you can also direct them to certain websites or certain audios or videos and ask them to watch it or listen to them. So that way they can see how others are doing. If they know and they see how others are doing, they may be able to do it better. I'll give a very good example. My daughter speaks even better English than me. She has, I don't say better or better words, but she has more British tone in her language or American tone in her kind of English than that of mine. How come? वो मेरे से तो नहीं सीखी, because I use more of GI. मैं तो Indian English बोलता हूँ. She speaks British or American English. Why so? Because she is more accustomed of watching videos or songs on YouTube. वो she plays some songs on piano. तो जो song piano पे play करती है, तो she plays mostly English songs. पता नहीं कैसे उसने सीखा. कभी कभी मुझे आश्चर्य होता है, मैंने तो उसे हिंदी सॉन्ग सीखने के लिए बोला, उसने इंग्लिश सीख लिया. आज के जनरेशन की अलग उनका हो गया है. So what she is doing is that she is she watches the song online on YouTube, and she repeats after that, and she plays piano also together. So that way she has picked that tone, the way it is spoken. So that way many a time you learn more when you see others doing it. So it's better that you also help them learn from others by being model. So either you can be model, or their friends can be models, or even internet can be models when they speak. So they should see how others do it. Next, you should organize. When you speak something, ask them to organize in points. Like, keep your points limited. Your talk should be organized, well organized. First, इंट्रोडक्शन होना है, देन उस पे टॉपिक को इंट्रोड्यूस करना है, पहले ऑडियंस को इंट्रोड्यूस करना है, फिर टॉपिक को इंट्रोड्यूस करना है, फिर टॉपिक के बारे में जो 1 2 3 4 पॉइंट्स हैं, जो मेन पॉइंट्स है उसको बताना है, फिर हमें कंक्लूड करना है. तो एक स्ट्रक्चर, देयर शुड बी स्ट्रक्चर प्रिपेयर्ड इन द माइंड व्हाइल यू स्पीक समथिंग. मे बी असेंबली वगैरह में जो बोले तो ये शुड बी प्रिपेयर्ड, and they should have limited points, not all the points. Number one, I'll talk this. Number two, I'll talk this. Number three, I'll talk this. So if you have limited points in your mind, structured on your fingertips, it will be easy for you to speak. So this you can also use. Then pronunciation, I think I have already said that English is a different language, not a phonetic language. English is not phonetic. That means we do not always say a word the same way we spell it or write it. They call it a stress time language. So English is a stressed time language, while most of the Indian languages are syllable time language. तो इंग्लिश में क्या है कि जैसा बोलेंगे वैसा लिखेंगे, जैसा लिखेंगे वैसा बोलेंगे, ये कंपलसरी नहीं है. कल भी मैंने ये बताया था, जैसा लिखेंगे उससे अलग भी बोल सकते हैं, लेकिन हिंदी या फिर बाकी लैंग्वेजेस जो है उसमें जैसा लिखते हैं वैसा ही बोलते हैं. दैट्स व्हाई इंग्लिश इज स्ट्रेस टाइम. इसमें कुछ स्ट्रेस जो होता है मेन वर्ड्स पे के कुछ पार्ट्स को हाई टोन पे बोलते हैं, वो स्ट्रेस वर्ड्स को हम लोग बोलते हैं, और जो अनस्ट्रेस सिलेबल होता है वो मिस हो जाता है, वो नहीं भी बोला जाता है, वो साइलेंट भी हो जाता है. तो दैट्स व्हाई इट्स कॉल्ड स्ट्रेस टाइम लैंग्वेज, व्हाइल हिंदी और अदर लैंग्वेजेस सिलेबल टाइम लैंग्वेज. फॉर एग्जांपल, एक कप चाय. आप इसमें देखिए एक एक वर्ड, एक एक लेटर को हम लोग बोल रहे हैं, एक कप चाय. व्हाइल इंग्लिश में जब आप बोलेंगे इसको, तो जो फ्लुएंट स्पीकर्स हैं ब्रिटेन वगैरह में, या दे से अ कप ऑफ टी. They don't say a cup of tea. They say a cup of tea. That means A is, stressed. Cup is stressed. Of is unstressed. Tea is stressed. A cup of tea or a cup of tea. So that way, English is different. So maybe we cannot like ask them to speak like this, a cup of tea. They can also speak a cup of tea. But slowly, wherever possible, the unaccented syllable can be put down. They can also look for the pronunciation of particular words like car or car, whether they should speak car, they speak in British, or car, they speak in American or Indian. So it depends. So ask them to go for a pronunciation of some words, speak some words better, so that it should be like there should be something called label and label. Most of the Oriya speakers call it label. Table ko table. They speak it. So there we can say that आप table बोलो, because Indian level में table is accepted. Table थोड़ा confusing होगा, या label may be confusing हो सकता है, still further confusing. So maybe ask them to speak maybe the way it should be spoken, and it should be maximum. It should have maximum intelligibility and not like have completely RPs. जो रिसिप्ट प्रोनाउंसिएशन है, आरपी है, उसको हम नहीं बताएंगे. उसको अब होगा भी नहीं इंडिया में, और अगर होगा भी तो आप जिस एरिया में उधर तो काफी टाइम लगेगा और बच्चे डर जाएंगे, ये क्या बोल रहा है, ऐसा नहीं बोल पाएंगे हम. वैसा बोलने के लिए प्रेरित करना भी नहीं है. सिंपल इंग्लिश बोले ऐसा करना है, लेकिन वर्ड का जो प्रोनाउंसिएशन है, जो जहां रिक्वायर्ड है वहां प्रोनाउंसिएशन को करेक्ट करिए. पॉज, जब वो कुछ बोलते हैं क्लासरूम में, जब आप उनसे कुछ लेसन्स वगैरह लाउड स्पीकिंग करवाते हैं, दैट्स आल्सो स्पीकिंग. लाउड रीडिंग हम बोल रहे हैं, लाउड रीडिंग स्पीकिंग का ही पार्ट है, क्योंकि वो फोकस होता है बोलने पे, कंप्रिहेंशन पे फोकस नहीं होता है. तो जब अलाउड रीडिंग कर रहे हैं तो वहां पॉज का काफी अच्छा यूज होता है, और वो धीरे धीरे डेवलप करेगा उनको पॉज स्पीकिंग में भी करने के लिए. जब वो रीडिंग नहीं भी कर रहे हैं, स्पीकिंग कर रहे हैं, तब भी पॉज होगा. तो पॉज दो तीन तरह के होते हैं. शॉर्टर पॉज होता है कॉमा का, स्लाइटली लॉन्गर पॉज होता है सेमी कॉलन या कॉलन का, और लॉन्गेस्ट पॉज होता है फुल स्टॉप, इंटरजेक्शन या क्वेश्चन मार्क का. तो आप देखिए बच्चे जब क्लास में आपका लाउड रीडिंग कर रहे हैं, तो इससे कि जब कॉमा हो तो एकदम छोटे समय के लिए रुको, जब सेमी कॉलन कॉलन हो तो थोड़ा देर के लिए रुको, और जब फुल स्टॉप हो तो थोड़ा ज्यादा रुको. maybe a fraction of second at comma and for 1 second at full stop. Like this you tell them कि pause पे रुकना है, पूरे पढ़ते नहीं जाना है, because they don't know it. So there they will develop कि कहाँ रुकना है, कहाँ continue करना है. So that way they can also develop a sense of having pause while they speak. No other way can be better than asking them to read aloud from a textbook. Quotes are like when you speak something, if you quote someone else, like मैंने जो शुरू किया आज का, तो देखना मैंने 3 लोगों को कोट किया था. बेन जॉनसन को कोट किया, लिंकन को कोट किया, एक और राइटर को कोट किया. So when you quote someone, you don't give your point of view, आप किसी और का point बता रहे हो और आप उसमें authenticity ला रहे हो कि अच्छा इतने बड़े आदमी ने ये कहा इसलिए हो सकता है. So you make it more authentic when you quote something. So it's better to quote. और जब आप इस तरह का quote किसी और को कर रहे हो, so quote में आप ये word use करो, I quote and I unquote. जो I quote के बाद जो actual quotation है, जो actual word है उन्होंने शुरू किया, उसको बोला है, और जब उनका actual word खत्म हो गया तो I unquote. So this word you can also use, I quote and I unquote, a popular standard expression of using someone else's phrases or words. So I quote and I unquote, and this brings more authenticity to whatever you are speaking. And also quotes can be read also.
You are muted, sir.
Ganga sir, your voice is not audible, sir.
Sir, you are muted. You are muted, sir. Yeah.
अभी म्यूट किया था, पहले किया था. म्यूट कब हुआ? When?
सर अभी जस्ट थोड़ी देर पहले.
हमने आपको म्यूट करने के चक्कर में मुझे खुद को म्यूट कर दिया. Right. Now,
Sir, voice not come
No, sir,
clearly, sir.
voice is slow.
Yes, sir. Please loud speakly, sir.
So we are unable to hear.
now is it okay?
So please speak loud. Yes,
Now
now it's
clear,
clear.
sir.
Yes, sir, now it is okay.
Okay, I think this automatically changes. Yeah. Okay, let me continue.
Yes.
Let me continue. So when I was saying that when you speak, you quote someone else's words or sentences, that time you can read them. So like the quote is maybe 3-4 lines long or a paragraph long. You can keep a small note in your hand and say that I quote, and then you start reading it. People won't mind because they understand that you don't want to be wrong with someone else's words. So that time you can use the term I quote and I unquote, and you can read it. Then rephrase, when it comes to like some words which are jargons, technical words, or some difficult words, and something don't come to your mind. Say for example, you are speaking something and you suddenly forgot the word called envelope, and you don't know that word is not coming to your mind. So what you can do is that at that time you can rephrase that into that. So for example, if you forget the word envelope, you can say the thing you put a letter in before you post it, or the paper, the small packet made of paper in which you put the letter before posting it. So what you can do is that if you forget some words, you can paraphrase it or rephrase it. Try to speak or try to explain it. So that way you don't need to fumble for the words. If you forget a word, you try to rephrase it using your own words of using your own words. Now next comes the speed. Now look at this. When it comes to many a time speed is confused with fluency. There are two different things. Fluency is different. Fluency is the ability to speak without pausing. Speed is the ability to speak faster. Now when it comes to speaking, Indians speak, those who consider and it should also not be confused. If you speak very fast, that means you are a good speaker. Speaking fast and good speaker are different. So while most Indians speak 170 to 180 words per minute, most of the native speakers of English, they speak 110 to 120 words per minute. What this means is that good speakers speak slower, and speed doesn't mean that you speak a lot of words and people fail to understand. So you should have a considerate speed where you should not speak like many a time. I should not say, but he was a very good speaker. Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji had a lot of pauses in between words. Even Modi ji also takes some pauses, but less. So I don't say that you speak like that, chewing each and every word, but you can speak with slightly less speed speed so that people should be able to understand it. And when it comes to class में तो आपकी speed और घटनी चाहिए. In a classroom, your speed should be much less. Like the way I speak to you, if I go to a classroom, my speed will be even slower than this, because I know I'm talking to young learners and they need to understand it, and they cannot comprehend the faster the way.
Ganga sir,
Yes.
sorry to interrupt you. Can you give one example for this? I mean, like the way you said, no, when I'll go to the class, I'll speak much slower in terms of speed. So I'm right now slowing down my speed and I'm requesting you to please give one example.
Yes. That cannot come naturally to this class. One thing that I tell ma'am, your Gitanjali ma'am, that comes naturally. It has become my habit that when I am with the learners, I have a different, you sit in the class and they will find that I am a completely different person when it comes to speaking. But still, for example, I go, okay, students, how are you today? Are you well? Have you taken your lunch? Okay. What was your last class? Did you learn mathematics? For example, and I start building from there. Now you see the difference in the speed. When I am with the learners, the speed was slowly, it was at 60%. Now I'm at 80%. And when I am discussing something with my friend one-to-one, I can be 90%. So the speed should be, if you have the level of speed, it can be up to 50 to 60% in the classroom so that they understand maximum. So speed should not be as very fast so that learners fail to understand. And also, this speed should not be confused with good speed, with fluency. कि आप ज़्यादा fast बोल रहे हैं तो आप बहुत अच्छे speaker हैं and you have good fluency. So this is a misconception among most of the Indians. अरे देखो कितना fast बोल रहा है, he's a good speaker. This is a misconception. So slowing down on rate of speech is the first step towards better speech. अगर आपके speech का rate और speed घट गया तो आपका speech naturally better होगा. Tone also. The tone is also something. T for tone. Tone is something that, the quality of somebody's voice, especially expressing particular emotions. So the way you speak, something also determines tones, in which tone you speak. So you speak in a hushed tone, low tone, clip tone, measured tone. There are many other tones, a conversational tone, a tone of surprise. When you speak, a very simple saying, when you speak to someone very intimate, I'm saying maybe something to your wife, maybe a different tone than something that you speak to a student. So the tone can be very different depending on the place and the words and the people you are working with or you're speaking to. So you also say that what kind of tone is it? Again, the tone can also be very formal, very informal, conversational, surprising. Many other tones are there. So that altogether a new topic is there on the tone. But still you see that what is your tone? Your tone should not be, many a time, sarcastic tone is also there. You speak something and tones are very sarcastic. So use in a very formal tone when you are in a classroom. For utterance units are shorter units. So you ask your learners to speak in utterance units, not in complete sentence in the beginning. Utterance units, I have already given an example. So like when they speak something, they can be shorter phrases instead of sentences. And utterance units also makes your pronunciation better. For example, give it to me. So if you want them to have good fluency, speak it faster, or maybe not faster in the sense, for them, if you want to bring, because they speak very slow. While I want you to be slow in speaking, I want you to convince your learners to speak faster, because they speak very slow. And because they are looking for each and every word, they're translating each and every word in the mind. So if you want to convince them to have natural fluency, you can ask them to use idea units or utterance unit instead of speaking each and every word. For example, give it to me. Instead of saying give it to me, they can say give it to me. Combine it together, and that can bring it. That can help them to combine some words and speak them as idea units. All right. So cup of tea. like this. Don't give them a very foreign examples, give them Indian examples, like give it to me or something like that. They can combine short of phrases, speak them at like idea units or utterance units. The best way of doing this is asking them to use short of phrases, asking them to remember those phrases and speak them. For example, as soon as, in order to, in addition to, these phrases you ask them to write somewhere and speak it. They will be able to speak it faster because they're simple words and they can be combined together. So ask them to have some phrases or idioms and ask them to read them faster. They'll develop it over a period of time. Then voice modulation, bringing, your voice should be higher and lower at certain levels. Somewhere you speak softer, somewhere you speak louder, somewhere you speak faster, somewhere you speak slower, dramatic, emotional, etc. So this modulation of the voice also depends on the situation and the content and context in which you are speaking. For example, when you are speaking a story, when you have particular character, say there is a rabbit, your tone should be slightly squeaky voice or a mouse sound. So like when you are telling the stories, your voice modulation plays a very great role. And if you have 2-3 characters, so if you are telling a story of a tortoise or and a rabbit, you should use 2 different voice modulations. One voice modulation for the voice of tortoise, maybe a bit rough voice, and a very meek voice for rabbit. So this voice modulation also, makes your speech better, and it brings quality to a speech, to a speech or whatever you speak. So this happens in our day-to-day conversation. You should use voice modulation in our day-to-day conversation. Without voice modulation, we generally speak in a monotonous tone, same level, flat tone is not very good. So it depends on the audience and the characters of the story as to how you modulate your voice. Then W stands for word selection. The right words are the right place. You should try to use suitable words while you speak. Don't fear if you don't have a huge, large vocabulary. When I speak, I do not use more than 1,000 common words to speak English. So if your learners know, you say that if your learners know about 1,000 words, they can be very good speakers. So don't need to have, have tens of thousands of words to be remembered. Don't ask them to mug up the vocabulary कि आप पहले तो word stock बढ़ाओ, पहले word stock बढ़ेगा तब तो बोलोगे. No, they don't need a large, huge vocabulary to speak good. They just need 1,000 words, about 1,000 words to speak well. So it requires less than 1,000 words to speak better. So, but when you have those 1,000 words, you should use right words at the right place. Suitable words should be selected. And then for expressing well, whatever happens, don't lose control of your emotions. Anger nahi hona hai, control nahi khona hai. So whenever you are speaking something, maybe some disturbances may happen, some problems may happen. You have to focus and express well. Translate your emotions from a raw, unedited state into productive, something that does not hurt other sentiments. So losing emotion, etc., somebody may feel bad. So use the words that may not hurt someone's sentiments or feelings. For example, instead of screaming at someone, find it a different way of expressing it, so that your relationship with the person remains good. So like instead of shouting to the learners or asking the learners, अरे तुम तो idiot है, तुम तो कभी कुछ नहीं कर पाएगा, तुम तो English कभी नहीं बोल पाएगा, जाओ उधर जाके बैठ जाओ. Something like that. Though you have been teaching the learner for 10 days, same चीज बता रहे हैं और वो नहीं कर रहा है, कुछ तो प्रॉब्लम है. So इसे आपने अच्छा ट्राई किया, 3-4 दिन से आप ट्राई कर रहे हो, लेकिन कुछ प्रॉब्लम है, you try it again. Maybe tomorrow you can do it good. Or like I'd say it good with my daughter. उसको प्रैक्टिस कराने बैडमिंटन का लाता हूँ. She comes in the morning and we practice it. In the beginning I said कि अरे मैंने आपको इतना सिखाया, you're not learning it well. आप अच्छा नहीं कर रहे हो. जैसे ही मैंने बोला आप अच्छा नहीं कर रहे हो, वो और डिमोटिवेट हो गई. फिर मैंने कहा कि आप थोड़ा तो अच्छा किए हो, अभी इधर आया है, थोड़ा इसको और ऊपर लिफ्ट करो, फिर आपका ये नेट के पार आ जाएगा. तो तो जैसे मैंने कहा रे तुम्हारा ये शॉट बहुत अच्छा हुआ, वो अपने से ट्राई करने लगी, और देन शी वर्कड ऑन इट. सो लाइक इंस्टेड ऑफ गिविंग देम नेगेटिव रीइंफोर्समेंट कि नहीं होगा, नहीं कर सकते हो, खराब है, जाओ, स्टूपिड, इडियट, ये सब वर्ड यूज करेंगे तो बच्चे डिमोटिवेट हो जाते हैं. इंस्टेड इनकरेज देम कि आपने अच्छा किया, बहुत अच्छा ट्राई है, और अच्छा कर सकते हैं, ये वर्ड को और करेक्ट कर लो. सो लाइक यू ask them to express well instead of like having some tone of anger or something that can harm their sentiments. Use something that can motivate them to do better. And then why for yearn to speak will help you learn it better. Yearn is like to want something to do it very good. When you are find it difficult, something difficult, so when you find English is difficult, yearn to do it, yearn to learn it, and yearn to speak. So maybe a sort of zeal, yearn and zeal will go together. You have a zeal to speak, you have some enthusiasm, you have some kind of motivation, you motivate your learners with a good zeal to speak and motivate them to do it, provide them platforms, have them say that yes, I can do it. Say, never say that अरे तुम नहीं कर पाएगा. Say that yes, you can do it, and have them repeat it. Maybe class में बोलो no, you have to repeat this word. Yes, I will do it. First say I can do it, then I will do it, and then I did it. So ask them to move from yes, I can do it to yes, I will do it to I did it. So let them move from these three phrases. आज I can do it करेंगे, 2 दिन के बाद I will do it करेंगे, और 3-4 दिन के बाद I did it करेंगे. So motivate them, have them zeal to speak. So that way, if you follow some of these things, this is for you also and for your learners also. Learners will certainly develop a lot of confidence, and they will be motivated to start from word level. I said that start from word level. I gave you example of principal to know that if the principal can speak like that, I return back to you, why can't our learners? So let our learners also start from broken English, fragments, word level, to accurate, good pronunciation, good speaking. If you, and first thing is that you have to make up your mind that I want this to be done, I want this change in my learners. If you make up your mind and have confidence in yourself that I want to get it done and I want to see this change in my learners, with some practice you will be able to get it done in your learners. So this is all I had some to share about speaking, a bit about listening and how to conduct a test of listening and speaking. I'll take one more session to discuss that. I think I have been speaking a lot for about 45 minutes, and we want to give you sufficient time to also take some rest. I'd like to stop here. If you have any question or query, a lot may be there with you, because many of you deal with real life situations where learners do not cooperate and they are नहीं कर पाएंगे सर, वो आएंगे ही नहीं हो पाएगा. Like ये नहीं हो पाएगा को हाँ करने में देखते हैं कि how many of you come forward and take it as a challenge that yes, you can try some of these tips and tricks which I suggested and want to see the change in your learners. Thank you very much. Any question, please ask.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
रेखा, आपका कोई क्वेश्चन है क्या? आपने रेखा कुशवाहा से एक हैंड रेज है, अनिल जी ने हैंड रेज किया है. रेखा मैम का पहले क्वेश्चन लेते हैं. इफ यू हैव एनी. अनिल जी आप बताइए. यू आर म्यूटेड, प्लीज अनम्यूट.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
I am Anil Kumar Napet, Government High School, Sarwara, District Datia. जैसे आपने ये सारे ट्रिक्स बताए सर, हम लोग प्रयास करेंगे बच्चों के साथ, और करते भी हैं. पहले से भी ट्रेनिंग भोपाल में होते रहे, हम लोग मिलते रहे. तो बस बच्चों के, अब ये कोविड का जो सेशन चल रहा है, जो लिंक टूट जाती है, तो यही समस्या आएगी. बाद बाकी तो आपने जितने सजेशंस दिए हैं, पहले मैडम भी अर्लियर मैटर डिस्कस कर रही थी, वो सारे मैटर उन्होंने भेजे. और आपसे रिक्वेस्ट है, ये सर आपने कल भी कहा था कि व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप पे भेज देंगे. MPBSE जो आपने लिंक भेजी थी सर, उसी पे आप भेज दीजिए सर. तो हम लोग क्या है उसको
I'll do that. I'll do
जी
that.
थैंक यू सर
सीखना ज्यादा जरूरी है, फिर भी मैं भेज दूंगा, आप मुझे एक बार रिमाइंड कर दीजिएगा। एक्चुअली आप देख रहे हैं बैक टू बैक है, टीचर्स
जी
को ऑर्गेनाइज करना, आई एम कोऑर्डिनेटिंग एवरीथिंग, तो
राइट
मैं
राइट
भूल गया या फिर टाइम नहीं मिला, तो एक
नहीं
दो बार रिमाइंडर दे देंगे कि सर ये प्लीज शेयर कर लीजिए,
मैं
मैं
शाम
शेयर
को
कर,
शाम को रिक्वेस्ट
शाम
और
को,
कर
हाँ
दूंगा
उस समय मैं
जरूर
शेयर कर लूंगा,
ठीक है
7
सर
बजे के बाद एक रिमाइंडर दे देंगे तो आई शेयर दैट।
जी थैंक यू सर
थैंक यू। यस, एनी अदर?
Ganga sir,
यस गीतांजलि
it's
मैम।
always it's always, what should I say? I'm going to paraphrase it. I'm not getting the word. It's always something very learning experience. Whenever I get into any session with you, I get rejuvenate, I get recharged because during this COVID time, I haven't seen my students. Today, I saw my students. Since like last 2 years, it's been the same. So I think your this session is going to recharge us for the next 6 months, coming 6 months. Thank you so much. Always, always, always so thankful to you for your knowledge, for sharing your knowledge with us. Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you, ma'am. And I think we are opening up now. The MP government has given up us the guidelines that with 50% capacity, all the
Yes,
schools,
sir.
classes 1 to
From
12 will
today.
open now from
Yes,
today.
sir.
That means we'll be able to see our learners now. And now COVID has become normal. Most of us it's like normal fever. So I think we'll be able to see the learners. Looking forward, even our learners are coming on campus for exams, and also it will be a common thing that now we'll be able to see learners. So the concern that sir has
So
raised,
one request, please call us sometime to RI Bhopal for your
uh,
session, sir.
yes,
Would like to see you, sir. Would like to listen you offline, sir.
yes, sure, ma'am, sure. Had
Yes,
it
sir.
not been
Please, sir.
COVID, it would have been organized in offline mode. But because of COVID, we're reaching you online.
Yes, sir.
Will, ma'am, surely,
Yes, sir.
surely.
Okay.
Stay in touch.
Thank you.
Whenever we have some programs, we'll certainly call you.
Sure, sir. Sure,
Okay,
sir. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. As Gitanjali ma'am says, we should um, take some offline class. That's what
Sure.
Mahto
I know
said,
online has limitations. Offline will certainly be much better. We'll be able to reinforce the ideas, give more examples. Maybe after the sessions also we can sit for a cup of tea and we can discuss more things in the canteen. So offline has a lot of other benefits as well. So
Yes, sir.
looking
Definitely.
forward to have some of you on campus. We'll reach you.
Okay,
Yes.
sir.
We'll
Okay,
plan
sir.
accordingly.
Thank
Let the
you.
situation be normal. We'll plan accordingly, and we'll have a week's course at least on campus.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Any other? If
So,
not, we yes.
any so one topic you have discussed today, GI English speaking skill, BBC American. So you prefer GI must be used for as usual for because it is understood for all. So I want to give emphasis on that. Would you like to share or any regarding PDF for GI speaking skills because it is very easy to deliver and understood. GI
Yes,
speaking.
ma'am. GI is general in English. It's still in
Yes, sir.
infancy. I think we have not come up with a common
Common.
English for India. American English is very developed and it is becoming very popular because of computers. But as far as Indian English is concerned, we are yet in infancy. One book is there, Bansal's book. I suggest you to go through that because you asked for it. R.K. Bansal's book is there called Spoken English. The book Bansal and Harrison, there are two writers, R.K. Bansal and Harrison. The book is available online for about 150 rupees around. There you have lots of phonetics, and it's not a spoken English in the sense of the topics that I talked here. It's mostly of phonetics, how it spoke English, Indian English, British English should be spoken. So there are some at certain points difference between British English and GI is given. So some common forms are there. But after that, after Bansal sir, no considerable work is done. We are working on that. Let's see how it goes. But let's see that whatever area you are living in, you speak that area's English and motivate them to speak the English which we Indians can understand. Like the way I am speaking, I have to document myself as to the way I am speaking. Only then you will be able to understand it. But when I speak, I'm not speaking 100% British English, not American. It's a kind of Indian English with fluency of many other languages on my English. So R.K. Bansal's book, if you can refer to, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
R.K. Bansal and Harrison's book.
Thank you, sir.
All right. I think with this we have further queries also.
Hello, sir. I want to say something.
Yes, ma'am.
So it was very wonderful session. After listening you, I'm feeling recharged. Actually, जब हम क्लास में जाते हैं तो ये सब चीजें भूल जाते हैं जो आपने चीजें कही है. बहुत सारी टेक्निक्स हमारे सामने आती है पर क्लास में जाके अलग ही माहौल हो जाता है. तो आई विल यूज दीज टेक्निक्स इन द क्लास. और जैसा कि आपने कहा कि कोई जरूरी नहीं है कि आप एकदम फ्लुएंट हो और आपका एक्सेंट करेक्ट हो तभी आप इंग्लिश बोल सकते हैं. क्योंकि समटाइम्स जब हम बोलने की कोशिश करते हैं, जब ऐसे प्लेटफॉर्म्स होते हैं तब हम इंग्लिश ट्राई करने की कोशिश करते हैं तो कहीं ना कहीं ऐसा होता है कि हमारे दिमाग में वो वोकैबुलरी नहीं आ पाती है. तो बोलने में झिझकते हैं या अपनी बात नहीं कर पाते हैं. तो इस सेशन के बाद हमारा जो कॉन्फिडेंस है वो भी बढ़ा है. तो थैंक यू सो मच सर. थैंक यू वेरी मच.
थैंक यू मैम. मैंने प्रिंसिपल की इंग्लिश बताया ना, वैसा इंग्लिश भी चलेगा. लेट्स स्टार्ट फ्रॉम देयर.
जी जी.
और ही वाज वेरी कॉन्फिडेंट. वो कॉन्फिडेंट होके बोल रहे थे, तो वो कॉन्फिडेंस होना चाहिए. बाकी सब तो आ जाएगा, वर्ड एक्यूरेसी वगैरह सब तो आ जाएगी. कॉन्फिडेंस सबसे पहले आना है. नहीं हम बोलेंगे, और जब बोलेंगे तो फिर सच्चा अच्छा तो हो ही जाएगा. पहले बोलना है.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. So thank you all. I think we'd like to stop here. देखिए मैं ग्रुप मैंने क्रिएट किया नहीं है. यहाँ बहुत सारे मैसेज आ रहे हैं कि आप मुझे इस ग्रुप में ऐड करिए, मुझे इस ग्रुप में ऐड करिए. मेरे पास उतना टाइम नहीं होगा कि हम ग्रुप में ऐड करेंगे सारे नंबर्स को. तो आई रिक्वेस्ट समबडी जिन्होंने ग्रुप क्रिएट किया है, वो जो एक्स्ट्रा मेंबर्स आ रहे हैं, आप चैट को में जो नंबर आ रहे हैं उनको नोट कर लें और उन नंबर्स को ग्रुप में ऐड कर दे ताकि हमारा एमपी के टीचर्स का, इंग्लिश टीचर्स का एक ग्रुप हो जाए. और मुझे भी रखिए ताकि हमें कुछ भी अच्छा है, कुछ ऐसा प्लेटफॉर्म है तो जरूरी नहीं है कि हम इधर से नोटिस मिले तभी हम आपके साथ सेशन लें. कुछ अच्छा लगेगा तो आप में से भी कोई बोल सकते हैं, कोई सेशन ले सकते हैं, और हमारे इधर से भी कोई एक्सपर्ट ले सकते हैं. सो यू कैन मेक अ ग्रुप ऑफ ऑल टीचर्स ऑफ एमपी, सेकेंडरी सीनियर सेकेंडरी का, और दैट कैन मेक इट बेटर. तो आप में से जितने आपके फ्रेंड हो जो इस लेवल के हो,
अरे मेरे पैर तो बहुत ही ज्यादा दर्द कर गए और ये हाथ में
जितने जो भी इस ग्रुप के एडमिन है उसमें टीजीटी पीजीटी को, क्योंकि उसके नीचे लेवल फिर चेंज हो जाएगा. तो आप टीजीटी और पीजीटी जो कि इंग्लिश हैं क्लास 6 ऑनवर्ड, जो इंग्लिश एज सब्जेक्ट पढ़ा रहे हैं, उनको इस ग्रुप में ऐड कर लीजिए और एक ग्रुप बना लीजिए. अब मैं नहीं ऐड कर पाऊंगा क्योंकि मेरे पास एक तो टाइम कम होगा और फिर नंबर सारे यहाँ से मिस हो जाएंगे. तो मैं इतना चैट को कैसे सेव करूंगा. तो एक ग्रुप बना लीजिए सेकेंडरी सीनियर सेकेंडरी का एंड ऐड मी देयर. वी कैन इंटरेक्ट ओकेजनली. जब भी कुछ ऐसा रहेगा या फिर कुछ इस तरह का टॉपिक, आपका कुछ प्रॉब्लम भी होगा तो हमारा या आप में से कोई एक्सपर्ट उसमें एक टॉपिक पे डिस्कस कर लेंगे. तो दैट वे विल स्टे कनेक्टेड विद द लेटेस्ट अपडेट्स ऑफ इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज टीचिंग पेडागोजी. So I think some of you can take this job and do this. Okay? Thank you. तो जो ग्रुप है, एक ग्रुप में देखा भी था कल, कोई इंग्लिश करके एक ग्रुप बना था जिसमें हमें ऑनलाइन ट्रेनिंग ग्रुप करके एक है. तो उसी ग्रुप में सारे मेंबर्स को ऐड कर लेते हैं और फिर बाकी लोग धीरे धीरे उसमें मेंबर्स को भरते जाएंगे.
सर मैं आपसे रिक्वेस्ट कर रहा हूँ, एक एमपीबीएससी का ग्रुप बना हुआ है सर ऑलरेडी. एमपीबीएससी का,
उसमें सिर्फ इंग्लिश के हैं.
हाँ, सारे टीचर्स इंग्लिश के जुड़े हुए हैं. एक ब्रिटिश काउंसिल का ये इसका बना हुआ है, एक हम लोगों का ब्रिज कोर्स का बना हुआ है सर. सब
देखिए ये जितने भी आप बता रहे हैं ना, सारे ग्रुप को कॉमन कर दीजिए. कॉमन करने का एक ऑप्शन है, जो आप ऑर्गेनाइजर हैं उसमें व्हाट्सएप में एक लिंक बना दीजिए. और ये नंबर ऐड करना बहुत मुश्किल होगा, अननोन नंबर्स बहुत सारे ऐड हो जाएंगे.
नहीं सर,
मैं ये एक लिंक के थ्रू एक कॉमन ग्रुप बना के उसमें सबको डाल दीजिए.
एमपीबीएससी में मोर देन 250 या 220 के ऊपर सारे टीचर्स जुड़े हुए हैं. हर डिस्ट्रिक्ट से जो हर डिस्ट्रिक्ट से जो मास्टर ट्रेनर है, कम से कम 3 से 4 वो सारे उससे जुड़े हुए हैं. एक बात. दूसरा सर, दूसरे हम लोग फिर जोड़ लेते हैं उनको आगे. तो उसमें डॉक्टर सुदेश शर्मा जी और विजय वर्मा जी, ये सभी 1-2 टीचर्स और हैं, गरिमा मैम, गरिमा बत्रा मैडम, ये सभी एडमिन हैं. अगर इनको आप, ये लोग सुन रहे होंगे तो ये लोग एडमिन है सर वहाँ के,
राइट राइट। तो
मनीष
अगर
जी
इनमें
हैं,
से कुछ
ग्वालियर
सुन
से
रहे हैं
मनीष
तो
जी
हमें
हैं सर।
ऐड कर दें, तो
जी
हम उस
मनीष
ग्रुप
जी,
में आ जाएंगे।
मनीष जी हैं सर।
राइट
जी,
राइट राइट।
तो
विजय
उनको
वर्मा जी, मनीष जी हैं, ठीक है।
जी ये उसी में आप भेज दीजिए तो हम लोगों को अवेलेबल हो जाएगा, हम पीडीएफ निकालेंगे सर, जैसे मैडम ने भी
राइट
कहा।
राइट। हमारे पास जितने भी ग्रुप है ना अभी का, एक सीहोर का ग्रुप है, एक ऑनलाइन ग्रुप है, और एक उनको
एमपीबीएससी
भेज
का मेन है सर,
एमपीपीएससी, तो उसमें मैं भेज दूंगा।
एमपीबीएससी सर। थैंक यू सर।
राइट, थैंक यू। रेखा कुशवाहा जी, आप अपने नाम से नहीं जुड़े हैं। अच्छा, आपने बार बार हैंड रेज किया। इफ यू हैव एनी क्वेश्चन प्लीज आस्क। लास्ट थिंग, आई डोंट हैव एनी much time to, we'll have further discussion in the next class. I think not ask. So thank you very much. We'll meet at 2:25. आप टाइम पे थोड़ा ज्वाइन करिएगा। 2:25 we have resource persons outside from outside NCERT. We have Sri Deepa ma'am. She'll be talking on the topic called how languages are learned. Very important topic, nature of language and how you should be teaching and learning them. And the second will be researching and innovating English classroom. So very important topics based on NEP's recommendations. So I've taken these two topics. Please do join on time. 2:15 2:25 तक सभी लोग ज्वाइन कर जाइए, उसके बाद फिर लेट हो जाता है। Thank you very much. Bye for now.